Namaste. I'll be talking about the breathing process in this lesson. What happens during the inhalation, both physically and energetically, and at the top of that breath, that organic suspension, and what happens if we prolong that retention at the top of the inhalation, and the active exhalation, and also that pause at the bottom. This lesson tackles the Kumbhakas of Hatha Yoga. And then there are three Kumbhakas of Hatha Yoga. The first being the top of the inhalation. We call that the Pura Kumbhaka, or the Antar. It's where we hold the inhalation, retaining it inside, but more than retaining, something amazing is happening within. Then the bottom of the exhalation, there's also the pause, and if you prolong this, we call this the Rechaka Kumbhaka, or the Bahir, or the external suspension, as well as what happens if the breath is suspended in the middle. Neither you're inhaling consciously or exhaling consciously, like you're in floating situation. All right, and that happens both consciously and unconsciously, and I will be talking through them. So this lesson is quite a long talk. So if you want to go back to this in the future, you can just save this in your file. All right, now, our autonomic breathing pattern is similar. We inspire the breath in, right? And then you might not be aware that you're holding the top of the breath. That's the natural response of the respiratory system. And you exhale the breath out. And then also you hold, and there's a pause at the bottom of the exhalation. So what happens then? Okay, so when you inspire the breath in, there's gaseous air, oxygen filled with the healing force. The prana gets absorbed by the autonomic functions, particularly your lungs, and that supplies the rest of you with that needed oxygen or the energy. However, internally, Hatha Yoga prescribes the process of allowing us to gain the higher potentials of the breathing. Right? And then your body is not just made up of those vital organs. You are brimming with sponge-like channels we call nadis. And then there are many thousands, but three of them are the most important, Ida, Pingala, Sushumna. And these nadis, aside from the lungs being able to absorb what your body needs, commonly, generally, your nadis, if they are open, purified, they can absorb more out of that breath you inspire. Therefore, when you inhale, once the lungs finish their role in collecting what you need, your nadis now will collect whatever is in excess. So you store more energy out of that breath. Good. And that is the purpose of the inhale retention, or the Puraka Kumbhaka, one of the principles. As you inspire the breath in, confine the breath inside, and as you hold the breath inside, your nadis collect whatever they can out of that big chunk of the breath. All right, and there's extra energy you store in the body. That's one. Number two, when you hold that Pura Kumbhaka inside, you compress your cranial cavity. Right? And then when you compress the cranial cavity, you magnetize the CSF, the fluid surrounding our brain. And then when the CSF is magnetized, as I mentioned in my previous lesson talk, we increase the electricity in the cranial cavity. And therefore, this awakens the dormant centers there. And therefore, Kumbhaka is really the heart of Hatha Yoga. Kumbhaka, Pranayama, awaken the dormant centers in the body and the brain, leading to the manifestation of subtle entities. Okay, so the Pura Kumbhaka opens and let the nadis absorb the energy out of the breath. At the same time, compresses the cranial cavity. What else? Okay. As you hold that breath in, good. Your breath, yeah, because your breath creates the pressure, irrigates your energetic anatomy. Yeah, the breath is like the water flowing through your entire body. And this effectively cleanses and purifies your energetic anatomy, leading to more openness of your energetic channels. And therefore, awakening more dormant centers. Right? And therefore, as you become more, I say, good at controlling the flow of the breath, the Kumbhaka, you'll be able to feel inner centers within you, yeah, that you can reach and you can touch and you can further irrigate and cleanse while you're holding the breath. Good. And then this is commonly manifested by involuntary adjustment of the neck and the shoulders. Yeah, people who are energetically sensitive as they do their pranayama, you might notice them do some random adjustment. We call them the kriya vatis. Yeah, kriya vatis are organic way for us to gain access to those deep points like the neck, the shoulders, the elbows, the hips, the tongue, the mouth, the eyes, because those are subtle anatomical body parts which have direct connection to the nerve endings attached to those inner pockets. Therefore, you're using the breath now to go deeply into your deeply rooted energetic stagnation or blockages. And then eventually these channels will open up, leading to high absorption of energy. Okay. Now, the exhalation. Yeah, when you exhale the breath out, what happens there? You release the toxins out of your body. Good. So the air that you allow the body to exit through the exhalation is not as potent anymore. That's why you feel heavy. Yeah. So the length of time, you're able to hold the breath inside means, your body can still absorb and then can still collect the energy from that breath. And then when the body is so filled with that force already, you need to release it. Therefore, the body becomes heavy, the internal pressure becomes heavy, and then you release the breath out. This exhalation still contains the life force. And then eventually, as you become more open, sensitive and purified inside, you'll be able to maintain and collect more thus. You'll be able to perform the Kumbhaka longer. So it's not about the length of the breath, really. It's the sensations you feel within. Because as you breathe, for example, you're doing the Nadi Shodhana, you can use now your internal mechanism in channeling the breath. Yeah, after you've inspired your full potential, the lungs already done their share of collecting that big chunk of the breath. Whatever is remaining inside, you'll be able to use your bandhas and your internal mechanism in irrigating those inner pockets in the body. Yeah, and therefore, when you release the breath out, it's less potent anymore. Okay. Now, what happens if we hold that exhale longer? Yes, after exhaling, we stop the breath. We call that the Rechaka Kumbhaka, or the Bahir, or the external Kumbhaka, which is actually more challenging to practice than the internal Kumbhaka. Now, what happens there? Since you're not breathing, your nadis will now supply your body, your internal body, of that needed energy because you're not breathing. Okay. So it becomes now your mechanism, the support mechanism in keeping your vital organs healthily functioning while you're holding the breath outside. Good. That's one. To supply your body of that energy while you're holding the breath outside. Number two, it decompresses the brain, whereas the inhalation compresses it. Now the exhalation frees the brain, and decompresses the brain. Therefore, the magnetized CSF could flow down to your Sushumna Nadi, the central canal, the spinal cord. And then this cerebrospinal fluid is brimming with the force, from that compression, and therefore awakening the centers there. And bringing the highly magnetized, electrified, ionized fluid down your spine, where your chakras are situated. Good. And then when you inhale again, this force coming from the hips, filled with your own energy, the Apana Vayu is being lifted up, irrigating those channels within the Sushumna Nadi. And this leads to the stimulation of your astral anatomy. And then the chakras particularly, for this matter. All right, so let's review. Exhalation, you drain the body of toxins, pathogens, brackish air, and at the same time, the nadis now, will supply the body of that needed energy while you're holding the breath outside. The exhalation also decompresses the brain, therefore allowing the fluid circulating there to descend so you can bring fresh energy to the brain when you inhale. Okay. Now what else happens at the bottom of your exhalation, the Rechaka Kumbhaka? Of course, you train your cardiorespiratory system to withstand the pressure. You expand the nadis. So it's like that. You compress and you compress. So you expand the nadis, you open them. Therefore, the next time you breathe again, you'll be able now to collect more out of the breath. Good. Now, and this is important. For safety, of course. The inhale retention is sustainable. It's actually easy to do. But the exhale retention, there's this stage that you need to really take. You have to release all the old air out, completely down. That's why exhalation is generally longer than in-breath. Even if you're doing it normally, your inhalation and your exhalation probably about 2 or 3 seconds longer than the inhalation. The reason being, you need to release whatever air left inside. And then in practice, in conscious practice of the Rechaka Kumbhaka, you stop the breath. And then you don't want to be breathing chunky. Therefore, you need to deplete. You need to release all the old air out. Because if you breathe too sudden after that exhalation, it could flood your chest and it could hurt your chest. Okay. And the common manifestation of the Rechaka Kumbhaka is this rush of electricity to the body. Like you're being covered with this electrical current. You feel your skin crawl. You may feel your head bulge. And there are techniques in Hatha Yoga which specifically give that side effect. For example, the Bhastrika Pranayama. And after your round, and stop the breath. And then your nadis now will flood your energetic system with the energy. Therefore, you feel your energy rush to your surface. Good. But of course, this should not cause untoward fainting or swooning. You might feel a light change in your cranial pressure because the brain decompresses. Therefore, it changes the perception of your space and environment, but should not cause any untoward incident like fainting or losing your balance. Therefore, all right, brings me back to safety again. Pranayama, especially if you're doing it with Kumbhaka, should be done sitting. Okay, to add more safety into your practice, because pranayama can, aside from affecting the cranial pressure, could also suddenly decrease your body temperature. It could bring your body temperature really down. Right? And then to keep the body temperature healthy and functioning well, To soothe the vital organs, you need to keep your body upright in sitting. And then even then, there's a recommended sitting position, either the Siddhasana, Padmasana, Siddha Yoni Asana, the Swastikasana, or the Sukhasana. For most of us, Sukhasana. If you're doing it sitting on a chair, make sure you have back support, just in case your chair will catch you. But we don't do it like standing, we don't do it lying down, we don't do it while doing general tasks. For example, driving or doing your everyday activity. You need to make sure that you are still and steady sitting, with support. In case your nervous system reacts, you'll be able to prevent yourself from falling or hurting. Okay, now, what happens when the breath stops in the middle? Okay, we call this the Kevala Kumbhaka. Kevala Kumbhaka is a state both conscious and unconscious and spontaneous. All right, Kevala Kumbhaka is not, I say, a conscious way of inhaling and exhaling. Like you still take those little breaths in and up, in and up, in and up, in and up. Like the breath now doesn't fully descend to your lungs. It's like you're processing your breath around the nasal cavity and probably about right here. So you're taking little breaths just to give your internal organs that energy to sustain. And then this will lead to what? The stoppage of the compression and decompression of the brain. It's neither compressing nor decompressing. It also leads to the balancing of your respiratory system. Right. So like you're hibernating, so to speak. You are not too conscious breathing in and you're not too conscious breathing out. So like you want to preserve the energy within. And in the practice of the Kevala Kumbhaka in a conscious manner, we have to prepare by doing natural breaths. And also, clear your nostrils out. Kevala Kumbhaka in a conscious practice is commonly done, I recommend, after your active or your conscious pranayama, specifically your Nadi Shodhana, because Nadi Shodhana is a good way for you to balance your right and the left channels and balance and harmonize your energetic circuitry. And then you can perform your conscious Kevala Kumbhaka. Little breaths, little breaths. Okay. And then, of course, since you're not breathing to your full potential, there will be a point that you have to breathe, and that's your recovery breath. But Kevala Kumbhaka is a good way for you to train your body and your nervous system to withstand stillness and silence in meditation, because when you keep the breath so light and steady, the elements, the subtle elements you build within shall begin to appear, like sounds, the nada, sensations, pulsations, visions, or some people also see colors, and then even some, I myself received some verbal information, visions, colors, But Kevala Kumbhaka is the most, I say, meaningful and profound when it happens spontaneously. And I could personally attest to its presence. During Samadhi, the body stops, the breath stops, your function starts. And this is a quick transformation from the physical aspect to the energetic body. Your energetic body will just take over to the front and everything stops. There's this rush of electricity suddenly from the inside surfacing up to the chest, and it quickly rises up to the brain, depending, of course, on the strength of your cardiorespiratory as well as your energetic locks. Bandhas. Well, you may have a look at that tutorial I've given about the bandhas. Bandhas are your internal support mechanism to keep you properly functioning as you practice your meditation. Bandhas are like valves of energy. Either you open the valve to give you more energy or constrict the valve to keep the energy locked within. And the bandhas there become your adjunctive support while your energetic system takes over your body. And since you know you are meditating, you are on top of it, you're aware, you're semi-awake, you prevent yourself from being absorbed by that void, because the void could be quite challenging. So you need to be able to resurface from that temporary stoppage of your mental and physiological properties. Okay. So every time you breathe, and make sure you do it mindfully, something amazing happens within. So taking that long breath in, allowing the body to absorb like a big sponge, absorbing the breath within. And then suspend a second or two at the top, allowing your eyes to lift up. And exhale completely down. And then stop at the bottom of it so you can recover and restore your vital systems. And then do this consciously every day. When you wake up in the morning, absorbing the grace of the breath while sitting on the bed, or you may have a separate breathing exercise space, place, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't have to hold that breath long, just inhaling nice and completely through the nose. And all the way out. You might even finish your practice with a long breath in. Because crossing that dimension, there's only the sound and the vibration. But I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a meaningful day. Namaste. Bye-bye.